It's tapas night here on Entertaining People. We're gonna have a kitchen party celebrating the flavors of Spain. Did you know that tapas means lid? And innkeepers in Andalusia hundreds of years ago used to put a slice of bread on top of a glass of wine to keep the bugs out. But everyone's coming. Join us right now on Entertaining People. Welcome to another episode of Entertaining People. I'm Porter William, your host, and today it's all about the flavors of Spain. Tapas, and the fantastic lifestyle of the tapeo and the tapas bar, as they call it in Spain. We're going to do some great recipes, and it's going to be a kitchen party for two of my great friends who are coming this afternoon. We're going to eat right here at the Hearth. If you want to expand this, you can. If you want to make it simpler, you can do that as well. But one of the easiest, trendiest foods in America are Spanish tapas, and they're so simple. Well, first, a little tapas 101, some education on exactly the flavors of Spain. They're really pretty basic. You've had them in most cultures, but first of all, the fantastic pimento cayenne, which is absolutely distinct, and look at that phenomenal color right there. And then we have the pabrea, which is this beautiful green herb that we find in Spain. We're going to do this on some fish, and we're going to cross these flavors over, and of course, well, what else except the world's most expensive spice from the crocus flower. We have beautiful saffron right here. And then I've got basically these green spices in a bouquet garni. One of my most favorite things are beautiful cubes of wonderful white fish. Now, I'm using a swordfish today, which is readily available. This is a fantastic thick piece. And let's move our tapas wine. And I'm actually going to be cutting this into chunks, and we're going to put this in our cazuelos, which are the traditional cooking vessels of Spain. We're going to do 4 dishes that are all going to go into the oven at the exact same time, all at the same temperature, and they're going to come out one by one. The first thing I want to do is take this beautiful piece of fish, and I want pretty substantial chunks, almost 1 inch by 1 inch. That's because at a tapas bar, there's great tradition of using your toothpick to choose what you'd like to eat. You leave all your toothpicks on the plate, the waiter counts your toothpicks, and that's how he knows how much to charge you. We want each piece to be just about the perfect size. A big bite, but an easy bite to get to. Let's put our beautiful swordfish in a bowl. I'm going to sprinkle with our Spanish herbs. Here goes our Spanish olive oil. This has a pretty sweet element to it. Over here, I've got a beautiful Solera 77, which is a Spanish sherry. Great to cook with, and it's just almost gonna create a ceviche type instant marinade on this fish. We'll just go ahead and mix these up. We're going to fill our first cazuela. Don't let that guy out. Let me get him back in. Remember that beautiful pimento? I'm gonna grab just a little bit. Sprinkle just some right on top. The next one that we're going to do is actually going to be our shrimp, and we're going to be using really beautiful red peppers, which are of course so common in Spain. I'm going to pull a few of them out on my block. Look at the red and the color of those. These are beautiful roasted peppers. I'm going to simply slice them lengthwise to begin. How easy is that? And then we're going to go once across. I've got some beautiful shrimp. I've got my fantastic roasted red peppers, so simple, in the bottom of the bowl. And now I'm going to add to this shrimp with the shells on. One of the great things about tapas is using your hands to eat with. We're going to top this with our basic flavors, some more cayenne, some of our Spanish olive oil. We're going to just toss with our hands. We're going to add a little bit of regular gray salt. In addition, I want to introduce you to this beautiful lavender herb salt. This has wonderful petals and flowers and great smoky sea flavors, which is going to be perfect right here on the shrimp. We have the pimentos in there. I've added a little bit of cayenne, and of course, again, our basic flavors, our paprikas. Our swordfish is in, our shrimp, and now I'm on to Serrano ham. I mean, how great is that? Look at this fantastic shredded ham. I was able to buy this actually pre-shredded. I would say probably about a cup of shredded ham, and what I want to do is get this into bite-sized pieces. I'm just going to put it into a little bundle and with nice clean cuts. This is a fatty ham, and so you need definitely a sharp knife to get through that. We're just going to cut these in little round cylinders. Now when they cook, they're going to open up, And I'm going to actually be mixing this with Spanish white bean, very simple peasant food that's available almost anywhere. And we're going to just heat it together. Let's try to cross one more time. We'll put our Serrano ham in the bowl. These are beautiful, beautiful Kivar white beans from Spain. A wonderful staple in any household. They come out very, very easily. And again, with all of our Spanish flavors, we're going to add a little bit of garlic, a little bit of the paprika. This one is heavy on the garlic, a nice full tablespoon. And let's mix all of these together. Oh yeah. That's looking fantastic, actually. When this cooks down, this is going to liquefy, and they're going to be just toasty and delicious with all of those flavors of the beans and the Serrano ham. At this point, I really never salt tapas when I'm using Serrano ham. They're so cured so heavily that really you just want to correct the flavor later. And I don't think we're going to need anything. A little bit of olive oil over the top, a splash of wine. It's going to be perfect. I will be right back when we move on to making the meatballs and finishing our tapas episode. Wait till you see this tablescape. We have brought Spain right to the kitchens of San Francisco. If you're just joining us, I'm Porter William. This is Entertaining People. I love this recipe. It's a mint and bean pesto. We talked about the white beans. I put one bunch of mint, one or two, just depends. I'm using a mini processor today. Do whatever you like. And then I'm going to use the balance of my white beans on top of the mint. This is going to be like a Spanish hummus. In fact, I've actually done this before with chickpeas. But since we have our white beans that went in with our Serrano ham, they're over there baking. I can smell them in the spoiler right now. We're going to add a couple tablespoons. When working with a processor like this, you're going to want to make sure you have a lot of liquid. The first one is going to be our olive oil, probably a good quarter cup. Just keep going here. Use your processor, and you'll want to pulse to begin until you see the paste arriving. Just going to pop that off. Now remember, you've got a blade in there. I always like to set that down and give it a good knock. I like to refrigerate this, so I like it really chilled. We're going to put it just on like a toasty piece of bread, almost something that would look like an Italian bruschetta, but it's really going to be a flavor of Spain. Just top it with a little bit of olive oil, pop that in the fridge. When my guests come, we're going to use that. We're going to smear it all over everything. Our next tapa is a lamb meatball with an almond sauce. And I have to tell you this great story, again, at a beautiful place in Ibiza, Spain. And I was sitting there having dinner one night, and you could smell the almonds blowing in the wind. These are beautiful Marcona Spanish almonds. They grow on the trees everywhere. And what we're going to do is we're going to make an almond soup. And I've got a cup of these that I'm going to put into about 2 cups of chicken broth, and we're going to let those sit and steep for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. We're going to add a little bit of sherry. I promise you some lamb meatballs. That's what's next. I have my purveyor get me a pound of ground lamb. Now, this isn't always available, but it's really easy for them to make. These are the easiest things in the world. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, but mostly I'm going to let the salt come from a beautiful shredded Manchego cheese. So I'm going to do Manchego inside with my meat. I'm just going to use a basic store-bought breadcrumb here, just so it thickens up a little bit. We could use some milk, but I'm going to use some olive oil. We're going to definitely want some fresh cracked pepper in this recipe. We are going to start mixing up our meatballs. So imagine this flavor. This is lamb. We have the saltiness of the cheese, and of course the substance of the breadcrumbs, but I don't want these to be too heavy with starch. I want it to be actually a very good meatball. You really need to get your hand in there and twist and turn around and make sure that that is fully incorporated. And that's exactly what we want. Now a tapas is small and easy, so I would say just a pinch, about this much. We're gonna roll those together, put them in a pan. I'm gonna do 2 or 3 of these. Time to saute our meatballs. I'm bringing my heat up to high, and I've got my cooking olive oil, which is a different quality basically than what we've been using for our taste. This is a lower quality. The smoking point is going to be a little bit different, and we don't need the intense flavors. Once we have these browned, we're going to actually pop them in the oven and let them finish turning. My tongs were being a little difficult, so I grabbed a spatula to kind of bring these up from the bottom and flip them over. That's the brown actually that we're looking for right there. What you're seeing is that cheese coming through in the oil, and you do have to make sure that they're well incorporated, but these are looking just perfect. I'm gonna turn the heat off because remember, these are gonna finish cooking once we have our almond sauce. I'm gonna set those aside, and I'm gonna grab our saucepan of almonds. Look at that, is that beautiful? With a hot pan, on this boiling pan, I want you to be really safe with hot liquids. An emulsion blender is a great trick for any home chef. Go all the way down and you want to push it away from you and start blending. There we go. You can see those almonds being ground up, and you want to make sure that that emulsion blender is all the way submerged at all times. Otherwise it can kick up, especially working with hot liquids. I'm going to set it down just a little bit, turn our heat all the way off, and continue with that emulsion blender. Okay, as you can see, our almond sauce is ready. Set your blender aside, and this is so easy. Just take that, we're gonna put it, look at those chunky, beautiful Spanish almonds all over our meatballs. You can cover it fully. A lot of this is gonna absorb in the oven. Pull your pan and right into the oven that goes. We're gonna check on those in just about 20 minutes. We're at 375. They're in there with our other tapas. Come back, we're going to start a tablescape section where we absolutely bring everything right home to you. I'm Porter William. The entire series of Entertaining People is now available on DVD. To order, go to entertainingpeople.com. From paella parties to formal dinners, brunches to beach parties, the menus are endless. This series is a perfect gift idea and a great reference tool, so you can throw all the parties we do on the show in your own home. Log on to entertainingpeople.com and click on DVD or email dvd@entertainingpeople.com. Wow, Spanish Manchego. If you're just joining us, I'm Porter William. This is Entertaining People, and we're bringing Spain to your own kitchen. You'll never guess what I've got in store for you next. Two of my favorite things, cheese and fried. Can you imagine that? This is a fried Manchego cheese, a great tapas appetizer. And you really just start with a nice chunk, a triangle of Manchego. You can find this in so many places. Ask around. You'll want to remove the rind, just nice, easy cuts. Make sure we have all the wax off. This is a really hard cheese. I hate to say the Spanish version of a Parmesan because it actually has a different depth of flavor, but you'll want your cube completely clean, just like that, and then take a nice, even cut, and we're gonna slice right through this hunk so that we have Manchego triangles. Look how beautiful that fans out. We're gonna do a dredge. I've got 2 eggs. I'm gonna start with my first one, crack that, put it into a bowl. And our second egg. Now, whenever we're talking about an egg in American cooking, we're talking about a grade A large American egg. We just need a little bit of dredge here so that our cornmeal is gonna stick. We're gonna whip up our eggs, scramble it up. You're gonna take your first square, with your hands, a quick turn, and then and with the same hand, you always want to keep your wet hand and your clean hand available to you. Look how easy that is. Into the egg, turn, and into that cornmeal. And our last one in. I like to start with a set of tongs to put the cheese in the skillet and then go to a spatula and flip them over. So follow me over here. I'm going to raise my heat up. And we're just gonna take our first, look at that beautiful triangle of Manchego. We're gonna drop it into our olive oil. You can see that bubbling just perfectly. You kind of have to move quick, so be aware. And right as soon as you see that smoke, you wanna turn that down and let those fry up. We're just gonna leave these here. That's about as much as I'm gonna fit in that little skillet. I like going with a small saute skillet. You can also use a cast iron, which works really well, but you don't want a really, really large pan. It's hard to control. See that the Manchego is just barely starting to brown. We're not looking for a heavy brown on this. Just once in, flip those over. Oh, look at that beautiful cornmeal. And right as you see your skillet start to turn brown, you know you're there. That's what we're looking for right there. It's just beginning to melt. These are done. I'm going to remove them from the heat, drain them on a paper towel, and then combine them with the rest of our tapas. We've made it. If you're just joining us, we have finished the most amazing tapas menu here on Entertaining People. Never ever serve without some candlelight. I'm Porter William, and we have converted the American kitchen into the ultimate tapas experience. It's not all perfectly traditional, but it absolutely works. Look at what I've got. I have my own tapas menu, just like they do in Spain. our Spanish olives, our mint with white bean, our Ibiza swordfish, and on and on and on. I've got the first things, the romesco sauce that I store-bought, so easy, and there's our mint and bean. We have our toothpicks, our bread. We're gonna also start them off with just some Spanish olives. I've got all the salts down here. We've got a beautiful Spanish sparkling water, a fantastic sherry. We're gonna do a beer tasting. Our tablescape is gonna be complete with a really personal moment. We've got some cushions, and I've brought all the passports from people in my family. This is my grandmother's passport, just as a treat so that they can feel the world coming to their table right here. Tablescapes are easy, a little bit of planning from a memory. You can make a memory, as I always say. When we come back, you're gonna meet my friends Natasha, Dan, and their daughter Sydney, and I think we're just gonna bring them back door because it's been a long day. So stay right here when they come. The entire series of Entertaining People is now available on DVD. To order, go to entertainingpeople.com. From paella parties to formal dinners, brunches to beach parties, the menus are endless. This series is a perfect gift idea and a great reference tool, so you can throw all the parties we do on the show in your own home. Log on to entertainingpeople.com and click on DVD or email dvd@entertainingpeople.com. Welcome, Natasha, Dan, and Sydney. Have a seat. Have you ever been to Spain?
I have not. I've always wanted to go.
You've not been to Spain?
Have not.
Tell Mom that you want to go to Spain. Well, in Spain, you go to tapas bars, and what a tapa actually means is a lid, believe it or not. And they used to keep a piece of bread over the wine glass hundreds of years ago to keep the bugs and the flies out when travelers would come through Andalusia. So that's how it started. And so then they had the bread, and then they added the Serrano ham. And if you don't think we have the real thing,
oh my
check this out. I knew that you were going to go nuts just for, you can lay it down and we're going to cut it up.
That is beautiful.
That's the real thing. And then they would do some Manchego. This is actually a Spanish white bean and mint dip. It's really refreshing. The rule in my kitchen, always with entertaining people, the first one I serve you, the rest of them, you're completely on your own. Isn't that fresh? It's just, it's a beautiful
delicious
Spanish white bean. We're gonna get it all over. There you go, Sid. This is a fantastic Australia Spanish beer.
Wow.
And I really like to start tapas with just a beer. How is that?
Very hoppy. Very nice.
Is it very
refreshing?
hoppy? Let's try it with a piece of that ham. Tosh, why don't you slice off a chunk?
Okay.
Sydney, come over here. I want to show you something. One of my favorite things are warm olives. Have you ever used a zester before? Grab the edge of this orange, grate a little bit right over the top of that. Yeah, 3 seconds sounds good. Give it a hard push on there. Can you flip? Can you do it? You got it. One more. There you go. Have a seat, and I'm going to bring you some warm olives. And there they go. You always know it's a real kitchen party when the olives jump out. All right, you guys, dig in, have a little bit of ham. I'm gonna start you also with a sherry in your small glass with the bread over it. If you have it with the ham, you'll really, really get how the flavors marry with that. First one up and out. So, do you remember when I used to go to Ibiza? Okay, you remember. So tell everybody he's really telling the truth. It really is from a memory, you can make a memory. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of the sherry right on top. And the only way that you eat tapas, everyone, is reach in, grab a toothpick. We're gonna have to reach a little bit. I'm gonna put our red pepper shrimp right there. This is a beautiful white bean sauteed with Serrano ham. Grab one of these each, just grab one. This is a fried Manchego cheese slice. You're gonna love this, Sid. Try this with that sherry.
She loves cheese.
Okay, Sydney, I'm coming to you. Make sure that plate doesn't tip over for me, okay? Be careful, honey, it's hot. These are the lamb meatballs with the almond sauce that I was telling you about. Yeah, look at that, your eye popped up. So you know what? Instead of, I'm just gonna like kind of help you out here, all right? Don't know if all the flavors are, it's so simple, this is family. Okay, now don't forget to put your toothpicks down because I gotta make sure I charge you all of that. Sweetheart, would you like a little try meatball?
Yes, please.
I've got one more for you. This is a Crianza. This is a big red in a big glass. I just want you to really work that wine with Serrano ham and the white bean And the lamb, I think you're gonna really enjoy that. I think we have it all in place finally here. We have a menu, a bees of memories down to our shrimp, and I'm loving that ham and bean. I've got a little thing for dessert hidden away. We have some Spanish figs that are stuffed with chocolate truffles that you're gonna love to finish. I'm gonna send you home with those because I think I'm gonna roll you out the door at the end of this. You always know you've had a great party. Build a tablescape from a memory. You can make a memory. Use these recipes. Go to entertainingpeople.com and log on, blog, throw this party, tell me what you think, and eat tapas, eat well, and join me next time as I entertain the world one table at a time.